So what we decided to do is the following. I have the slide, I have a few slides for you, but I want to make this as engaging as possible. I think we all listen to each other. And I have to tell you, this is very, very moving and very fantastic how much you have put together and the pride by which you presented the slides and your journey and many successes is really wonderful. So I'm skipping ahead to the one slide, which I think is the more important one, which is basically, I want you to think about the following. What are the key activities your agency will sustain moving forward? And so think about all the wonderful things that you have done, and what are the key activities, and how will you sustain those activities within 3 to 6 months? So having only 10 minutes, obviously we have a whole team action planning time period and report back. And so in the next, let's say 5 minutes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put those questions into the chat. And I want you, to the extent that you can, think as a team, like what are the key activities? And maybe we can even make it the top 1 or 2 activities. We heard a lot about capacity building, a lot about different things. And then what I want you to do is put those activities into the chat room by saying your team name, and then maybe highlight a few things about, if time permitting, what you can do. So this is not necessarily go back to your team. Think about from your perspective, what can you do? What are the key activities? Let me put this in the chat room. So what are the key activities? So if you are sitting in one room together, which a few teams are, maybe you can quickly brainstorm, but this is, you have about a minute or so. If you sit by yourself, if you are, just think about what is the key activities, and maybe you can highlight one activity, how to sustain that activity going forward for the next 3 to 6 months. Just put in, this is probably not one where this is clearly, don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Write down what you think is the key activities and one action to sustain it for the next 3 to 6 months. Love to hear from you. Maybe we can have 1 or 2 report back. Maybe the brave soul who wants to unmute. It's wonderful. Tracy puts into the chat room that there should be a standing agenda item on leadership meetings, team huddles, and staff meetings. Thank you, Tracy. Great suggestion. Let's hear from a few more. Don't overthink it. Just whatever you see, key activities. Oh, a few is coming. Thank you. Support and framework for regular honors completion for benefit of top and complexity score. Wonderful. Oh, I see a few coming in already. Wonderful. Just keep typing along. For those that have submitted, just look through what your colleagues are doing. As we mentioned earlier, sustaining is an important step as part of the improvement journey. Anybody's brave enough to go on mute and just tell their story, even if you put it already in the chat room. Tracy, since you were the first one, can I ask you to unmute? Tracy Adams. We don't hear you yet.
Coming, sorry.
Go ahead, Tracy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for the day. It's been really great. I actually was on maternity leave when all this started, so I've been able to come in and learn from the Northeast team and all the great work that they're doing. So I think in terms of sustainment, I think if we can keep the conversation going, we always have meetings, leadership meetings, team huddles in the morning, staff meetings, and I think, you know, it might mitigate some of the issues with staff turnover and new staff and even students coming in if we just keep it a regular part of the conversation. So I think that would be great. And then also talking about clients, we talk about clinical updates and concerns every morning as well. And this might be a good place too to say, you know, hey, the clinical team has tried this, or we're considering this. If anybody else has any clients they're thinking of, maybe we can chat. So I was thinking that would be something that's already in existence that we can continue moving forward with. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Anybody else? Monica, you had a comment about to incorporate the conversation in daily morning meetings. Do you want to elaborate on that one? Monica, you probably have to unmute.
Yes, hi. Yeah, you know, I think it was really similar to what Tracy was saying. So every morning at Northeast, we come together and talk about clinical issues or anything that's going on during that day or the week, or even larger kind of complex care planning. So I think that could be a place to have a top check-in for other clinicians to be able to bring that forward, and for the top clinicians to, or the top team members will be there to provide support as well.
Wonderful. Let's hear from what, maybe we have time probably for one more. So anybody who is a brave soul. Lisette, wonderful, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought, like, as you know, we didn't actually start anyone on clozapine, but I did think it was interesting to find out that the pharmacies had the CSAN Pronto. So I think like developing more solid relationships with pharmacies and people at the managers and staff of the housing units to help with the discussion and keeping people stable and able to go for their blood work and deal with being on clozapine. And yep, just having the discussion ongoing and being aware of those options for refractory clients all the time is very important too.
Wonderful. With that, I want to, I know we had lots of wonderful presentations, so I want to turn it back over to Valeria for starting with the closing, but I wanted to just leave with one thought about that. Hopefully you're sustaining those efforts become the new norm in your organizations. And hopefully we made a lot of progress in that direction. And, you know, the resources, your peers, they're still around. So take advantage of all the wonderful learning that's going on. And, you know, I know that I will go back to some of the slide presentations and study them because there were so many nuances that we potentially didn't have time to hear all about, but congratulations to all of you.